Hello, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, good evening. Welcome to the S.S. Chandhok Talk Show. We are here once again with another episode of the show with a very interesting topic, basics of language learning. The first eminent guest we have over here is Sangeeta Dhamija ma'am. She is the principal of DPS Gurugram. Welcome, ma'am. She is a dedicated educationist. Children are the prime focus of her in work. She sincerely believes that real education lies way beyond books. She has done her schooling and higher studies in New Delhi. She has done graduation in economics and the certificate diploma holder of computer application from NIT. She has devoted around 26 years to the field of education. During this time, she has worked and gained rich experience in institutions like New Greenfield School, Saket, Heritage School, Vasant Punj, and the Millennium School, Noida, and now as a founder principal of DPS Gurugram. I think wherever people feel that they have to open a new school, a founding school, they call ma'am that you should come and guide us. She has contributed a lot in achieving the reputed ISA award by the British Council in her school. In her school, recently she has authored a series of social science books of class 5 to 8 for Meghalaya board, which are currently used by the board. She has received the awards of the best facilitator both in Heritage School and the Millennium School. During her student days, she was an avid orator and an athlete. She has won many prizes in debates, dramatics, and sports at inter-school level. She has attended various workshops and training sessions conducted by CBSE NCRT and training sessions and safety and security of schools by Educom. She, ma'am, has received awards, many awards on national and international level, as well as she is engaged on national and international level with many associations. Rest, she has list of awards and associations that will take a much of time to introduce that. Welcome, ma'am, Sangeeta, ma'am, and
Thank you so
please,
much.
please let us know that you had been founder principal of at least I know two of the schools. So, how is this your journey as a founder principal? How feel good joining a school which is a startup? Do you feel energetic about it, or do you feel that I should get a school where a running school which should be a K-12 school?
Thank you so much for this generous introduction, Mr. Chandhok. I think setting up a school requires different skill sets, which I am now, developing. And it's very exciting to start a school because you can do and whatever you want to do with the school, it is from the beginning. When the school is already set up, it is very difficult to change the dynamics of a school. So I'm very excited. This is my second startup school.
That's great, ma'am. All the best to you. And you have that caliber. That is why people they know that वो कहते हैं कि हीरे की परख जो है वो जोहरी को ही होती है. So that is why. And DPS is all a very prestigious institution wherever it whichever city it is. And Gurugram, that's good, ma'am. All the best to you, ma'am, and welcome,
Thank
ma'am.
you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Next, we have Manisha Sharma, ma'am. She's the principal of Venkateshwar International School, Delhi. That is in Sector 10, Dwarka. Ma'am is MA in English, B.Ed, PhD, and achievement during the school years, she had a lot. Many achievements at national and state level in dance, drama, and debate. Recipient of Best Student Award at the university level in the year 1986. And about talking about international experiences and visits, she was invited by Australian High Commission to attend Australia India School Leaders Professional Learning Programs in the year June 2014 at Sydney and Adelaide. Invited by CSD Group of Schools Spain to study School Environment Program at Madrid in June 2019. Represented India as school educator at World Teachers Day Celebration Conference organized by UNESCO held at Bangkok in the year 2019. She has an experience of around 34 years. She started her career as an educator from 1986-87 till now with prestigious schools in various parts of India as senior teacher, head of department, and as also as a school administrator. More than 15 years of experience as principal and vice principal, master CBSE trainer and resource person, conducted more than 100 workshops on various relevant issues related to school education. And again, ma'am, along with many, many awards, she has received Shiksha Rashtriya Shiksha Samman Award and so many awards. And again, because she has such a vast experience of 34 years, she has also been associated with many associations on national and international level. We welcome you, ma'am. Please, this is a very small introduction of yours. Please let us know about yourself, ma'am. Your 34 years journey.
Thank you so much, Chandhok sir, for such a wonderful talk show, which gives us the platform to exchange our views and enrich of oneself also. Everybody is experienced here. So what I talk about my experience, but I think I'm very fortunate enough to be a school educator and gain experience in different parts of India, whether it's Bihar or whether it's Catholic school, public school, private school. So all these experiences teach you a lot. Children are same, whether it's Bihar or Bengal or Gujarat or Uttar Pradesh. I started my journey as an English teacher in St. Peter's College, Agra. It is all boys school. Moved on to Ahmedabad, where my husband was posted, then to Dhanbad, again to Nobly School. So I gained a lot of experience, and each assignment I found very exciting, very, very exciting. Lot of challenges, leaving one place and shifting to another place, building up good fond memories, learning from each school, keeping along with your journey, and then finally settling in Delhi. Last 20 years, I'm in Delhi, and different parts of Delhi also, whether it's north and west also, there's a lot of experiences there as a school also. It's just like one state, you are going to another state. If you go to from South Delhi to West Delhi to North Delhi also. So I think all these experiences teach you to have a lot of resilience, patience, and also to steer away and tackle everything positively and accept all their challenges. That is what I will say. Everybody must have, everybody's a no. If you are a novice something, that's fine. You need to innovate. But once you gain the experience, it really adds you a lot of things which is not given in any book of your life. So experience are very important of everybody's to really grow intellectually, physically, mentally, emotionally, in every manner.
Of
Thank you
course,
so
ma'am, for
much.
sure. You are absolutely right, ma'am. Because that day only, Jaswinder sir was saying that he is also right. When you do your B.Ed, don't learn anything, but practically when you use that thing to teach in the class and you make your lesson plans and everything, then only it comes into, into practice. And then you come to know about the importance of what actually you have to do. So practical approach, and wherever you have moved, and everybody, wherever they move, they learn a new experience. Of course, when you talk about Delhi or Delhi NCR, if you're moving from one place to another, that is almost equal to a city only.
Yes.
Because if you're moving to 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers, 40 kilometers, So it's just like moving from one city to another city, and you get
Yes.
a very different and a very unique experience also. Thank you so much, Manisha ma'am, for
Thank
sparing
you.
your valuable time and giving us your knowledge, ma'am. Thank you so much. And it's all about sharing knowledge. That's a Sendok
Yes.
Talk Show.
That's so
Thank you, ma'am.
wonderful.
Next, we have Dr. Farjana Shakil, ma'am. She is a director and principal of Kirti Public School, Barabanki. Ma'am is, of course, on a position of director and principal over there. And I know her very closely. She is a very experienced person, very down to earth. She has around 3 decades of vast experience as an educator. Presently, she is also Secretary Sahodaya Barabanki Cluster, CBSE Training Coordinator deputed by COE Prayagraj for districts Barabanki and Bahraich, Master Trainer for School Development and Audit, CBSE Resource Person for Center of Excellence Prayagraj, Content Writer for Online CBSE Training on Inclusive Education, Master Trainer for Assessment and Education by CAER, and a selected mentor by CBSE. Doctorate in Life Science, postgraduate in Botany and Education. She has keen interest in research, guidance, and counseling, inclusive education, social service, technology, and innovations. An ardent learner and a scholar, she has participated in international conferences, summits, workshops, leadership programs, management development programs, and seminars conducted by CBSC, CAER, Ministry of HRD, IIMs, IET, NUPRA, ICTRC, NIP, CCD, and CHS. As a CBSE resource person, she has trained teachers in classroom management, value education, and many, many other topics. She is also a life member of UP Academy of Science, UPES associations, and so many associations she is connected that it will take an hour's time to read that. I'm extremely sorry, ma'am. Although I know that she's in Barabanki or Bahraich, but she's spread everywhere, at least in Lucknow and Kanpur and all over areas because I'm quite near to her. I've been observing her. She is associated everywhere. The whole Lucknow is covered by her. Kanpur is also covered by her. And ma'am, please let us know about what you have not written over here, about the publications you are looking after, about the subjects webinars you are taking over. Yeah, have you left anything or not?
First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Chandok, for such a generous introduction. I'm just an educationist by heart, or shayad it's my passion that I connect with everyone so well. Because what I believe in is, yes, I have been founder of three schools at least, a founder principals like Sangeeta ma'am. And the thing is, I have never taken this position to my head. I'm still an educator at heart. I help the people who reach me, be it my colleague principals, to tell them each and every tip so that anyone who is known to me should work error free if they need my help and guidance and whatever knowledge I have till now. I'm not a like so humbled by your words, Chandok sir, but it's nothing like that. I'm just working the way we all are working with our schools, contributing and adding value to the organizations with which we work, connecting well with our teaching team, staff, and the students and all stakeholders, I must say. Yes, I have been maintaining very good terms with everyone. Maybe that is God's gift to me or whatever. People know me. Again, I'll say God's grace.
Ma'am,
Not even in Lucknow
what
and
about
Uttar Pradesh, but across India also. There are good
yes,
number of people. If you take my name, they know me because maybe in this tenure of 30 years, I may have, shared some knowledge with them or helped them maybe in odd hours whenever they would have called me. So it's just my nature, you can say. And the way we all are helping to add knowledge and trying to give the best to our children who are reaching us, the same I'm also
that's
doing.
great, sir.
Nothing more, nothing more. Thank
That's
you.
great,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
I told ना I was not wrong that you are everywhere. मेरे हाथ बहुत लंबे हैं, मेरे दिल्ली तक हाथ हैं. कानून के हाथ लंबे होते हैं, मैम आपके भी हाथ लंबे हैं. And I know, I mean, you are so down to earth and you are associated with everything almost. And we'll talk about that also in the further show.
It's
Thank you so
never
much, ma'am.
say no attitude that I carry. If
That
I'm
is for
able
sure.
to do and I have the potential to do, I'll not think of money while doing. So that's how I have grown and enriched myself also in the process and in this all 30 years journey.
That's
So
great, ma'am.
maybe
That
that is the reason people know me.
people know you and people like you also, ma'am. They
Okay.
are your followers. They want to learn from you also. I mean, jokes apart, but I've seen that Lucknow people and all the nearby areas, they are so much associated with you because they learn from you. When you get something from someone and when you're giving someone selflessly, I mean, without any selfishness, so it always comes back to you. And that is all your humbleness
Very
that
true.
you are
Very
doing that, ma'am.
true. Yes.
Although everybody over here is doing that, but because I'm very closely associated, I know, ma'am, what you are doing, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming. Next, we have Jaswinder Singh, sir. He is the founder and CEO of Wordsworth Lab. He is the ex-founder director of a Design Mate, which is now a Reliance Group company. He is the MD and COE of Wordsworth English Language Lab, as I told you. He has a vast experience of 32 years in the field of education, successfully run two edtech companies. He has worked as a consultant to the government of Bahrain through UNESCO, advised the government on the use of ICT in education, passionate edtech leader. Wordsworth is used by over 1 million learners annually through more than 3,000 plus schools and colleges. Now it has increased. Launched the world's first Sanskrit language lab. Also developed language lab for Hindi also. He is based in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Jaswinder sir, we welcome you and thank you so much to coming in our show on the invitation. Please let us know about your journey, how it came into your mind to start this lab and how you started up with the company.
Thank you, Chandok sir, for having me again here. It's indeed a pleasure to be here with all the principals. Before I get on to the other things, what I have planned, when I retire, I want to go and work in one of your schools. Anybody can give me a job. Why? Is because when we grow old, I want to be with young people so that I can stay young. And I say that, and give our maturity to those kids who need that maturity. So any of you, if you want to give me job after 5, 7, 8, 10 years, I would love to come and do that because that's what will keep us young, and that's
Sir,
what is keeping
sir,
everybody
sir,
young.
sir, sir, 1 minute, sir. By that time, all of us will get retired, sir.
कोई नहीं सर
We'll also
आपके
be looking for the same.
No, what I'm saying is that being a principal or
Yes, sir.
working in a
Yes, sir.
school is okay. There's one thing which we say is that this is something, it's a noble profession. Everything is correct in its own right, but it also helps us all. It when you work with young people, you become energetic. The whole idea is to remain young even in old age. So one has to be an educator. So that is one
Sir,
thing.
sir, principals do say that we do not grow above 18.
I know.
बट वो पेपर वर्क देख के स्कूल वाले स्टार्ट के बाद निकाल देते हैं. Although we never grow above 18 because you are absolutely right. When you are with the kids, you are like them only.
Yeah. Jyoti ma'am is
Yes,
joining. Yeah.
please,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. So, okay. So, how this journey of how I came into languages, I'm not a language person. I'm basically from the field of IT and computers. So, I was actually, an outsourced trainer for Microsoft, and they used to send me across to different countries to go and deliver IT training and things like that. I'm talking about 30 years back, 25 years back. And then I went on to form a company by the name of DesignMate. Sangeeta ma'am, if you were with the Millennium, so you know that there was a program known as Eureka.
Yes.
Ma'am, that was designed by me.
Oh,
So
that's great.
Captain Brar and I were co-directors of DesignMate. So
Yeah.
that's what, and we had outsourced it. We had licensed it to Educom for that. So when we did all that, and then we were given a project by the government of Gujarat. Our current Prime Minister Modi ji was the Chief Minister of Gujarat at that time. I'm talking about almost, you can say, 14, 15 years back. And then we were already training the government employees for IT skills because Gujarat was the first state to make all the operations, government operations, computerized. So when we were training them, so one day we were called, three companies were called, and we were surprised why the chief minister calling us, and he simply handed over a document saying, from 20 days from now, you have to start working on training 100,000 people in English. And that was a pleasant surprise. We were so happy. Jyoti ma'am, good evening. I'll just say because the others are okay. So it was a pleasant surprise for us, to get a project like this. And he said, I will give you the students. I'll give you this location. We were given schools, and each school had to give us a room, and infrastructure was given by the government. And they said, you get your trainers, and then you go and train. We were very happy, excited, because the government was making all the arrangements. But there was one caveat. He said one important thing: for every one center that you open up in urban Gujarat, you have to open up 2 centers in rural Gujarat. हमने कहा okay, ठीक है, कर लेंगे. But the problem was when we went to the rural Gujarat, we were not able to find trainers. Okay, so in the urban Gujarat, in the cities, tier 1, tier 2 cities, you were able to get teachers, but getting a good teacher to teach English as a spoken language, it was a very tedious task. And that's where we decided, okay, let's do something that, you can't import teachers. Teachers will not ship from a tier 1 city to a tier 3 city. We said, okay, let's do something where the local teachers can be provide content to get them to the next level. I already had experience of 8 years of developing maths and science content. So we went on to that task and we started working, and the thing paid off and the project was very successful. It ran for around 14 years and we've trained, I don't know how many lakhs of students. Then that the idea struck me that, students' language skills should be acquired while in school, not when you are in college, not when you are doing your graduation. That's the time you need to work on your specialization. And language cannot be acquired in a year. It is a process that has to be done. So that's where we started working, and we started implementing language solutions in schools, and that is how the whole idea of getting into language teaching. And fortunately now, before, by the time NEP 2020 was being designed, formulated, we were asked by people in the higher ups that you need to work on Sanskrit. So it took us around 3 to 4 years to develop it, and now we are there with Sanskrit Lab also, and around 570 Kendriya Vidyalayas are using that lab already from the last 1 year, online though. So that's the story that we have. So now into schools and colleges. Thank you.
That's great, sir. Welcome and all the best to you. You're doing a wonderful, job for the education industry, and hopefully you will reach pan India everywhere in all the schools, sir.
Thank you,
For
sir.
sure. Next, we have Jyoti Sirohi, ma'am. She is the principal of Delhi World Public School, Ghaziabad. Ma'am has an experience of 25 years as a researcher, teacher, and administrator. She is professionally qualified in education, library and information science, and PhD in botany. She served in Mussoorie International School, City Montessori School, Lucknow, and Delhi Public School Merit as a teacher and principal of Maple Academy, Shamford Futuristic School, and BIT Global School. She also organized various competitions and participated in more than 20 Congress conferences and workshops. We welcome Jyoti ma'am. Jyoti ma'am, I hope you are over there. Jyoti ma'am. I think, sir, she has joined, no?
Yeah, she's there. She's there.
Yeah.
She's on mute, so maybe.
Maybe she's on mute. She was also in with the meeting with the management, I suppose, and she got a little late. And she has just joined. Jyoti ma'am, I hope you are there now.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, ma'am. I have given you introduction. Welcome, ma'am.
Let me connect.
Yes, ma'am. Please, you get yourself unmuted. Yeah, you are. Welcome, ma'am. I've given an introduction, a very small introduction, although you need a long introduction. But
Okay.
But there's a penalty when you are coming late. You will get a small introduction, and you have to introduce yourself. The rest. No, I'm just joking, ma'am. Jyoti ma'am, please tell us about yourself, because I also have not been knowing you. Please, everybody will like to know that about your education journey, ma'am, as an educator.
Fine. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chandhok, for giving me the opportunity. And I would like to brief about my educational career. Basically, my birthplace is Pantanagar University. My father was an architect over there, and I was born over there. And my schooling and all the things were degrees from Pantanagar. I did my research in botany and MSc from botany. And I did my B.Ed and library science course and all that. All my journey, maximum journey was from Pantanagar University. Then I started my career from a Mussoorie International School, Mussoorie. That was my first school where I started my job. Over there, I was for 3-4 years. From there, my husband got transferred to Lucknow. Then he only applied for me. That one of the very good school is there. That is a city Montessori school of Mrs. Bharti Gandhi and Jagdish Gandhi. He saw in a newspaper, and it was wonderful. And he applied for me. Then a call came. I was being shortlisted, and an interview session was there. And finally, I got selected over there. I worked there for 7-8 years. Then I came. Then my husband shifted to Meerut. That I have to because of the family. So my husband is a professor, basically in Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Agriculture University. So we have to shift a family over here. So I shifted. Then I started working in a Delhi public school, GPS Meerut. I worked there. I worked in Shanti Niketan. From there, I got an opportunity. I worked in an administrative post. I was a teacher. I was a PGT. I was a coordinator, and looking after many things. And all my learning phase was there. And I got an opportunity in the Maple Academy as a principal. So that was my first school. Then second was Chamford Futuristic School. And third, I got an opportunity in Meerut itself, that is a BIT Global School. I was there for 6 years. I was a founder principal in Maximum Schools. And then I joined Delhi World Public School, Pilakwa in 2020. So almost, if I tell about my journey, it is almost the 24-year running. So 16, 17 year of the teaching, learning, teaching, and administration. And after that, the principalship is there.
That's great, ma'am. So this Filwa place is in Ghaziabad only.
Pilakwa is near, in between Hapur and Ghaziabad, and our school lies in Ghaziabad. Yeah.
Okay, your school lies in Ghaziabad.
Yeah.
That's great, ma'am. You are also the founder principals. And I mean, I also had been founder principals of two of the schools, Seth Anandam Jaipuria, which is in Ghaziabad also, Vasundhara. I'm not a founder principal of Vasundhara, but one of the branch I was founder principal. And this school where I'm working, here also I'm the founder principal from last 5 years I'm working over here. That's great, ma'am. And Manisha ma'am also might have, she didn't told that. She also had been founder principal of many schools. And Fazana ma'am already has established so many schools as a founder director, not principal even. So this rich experience which you get from as a founder principal, this is something different which you get from don't get from a running school. So that is for sure. You come to know about all the pros and cons and everything about affiliation. So that increases your capability as well as your mental level also. Welcome, ma'am, Jyoti ma'am, and hope to have a good session today. We'll come up to the next round. I won't call it question because you are all learned people. We'll talk about discussion. Coming up to the discussion, Sangeeta ma'am, I'll come up to you first. As we are talking about today about basics of language learning, so please do confine with the timings for 2 minutes each. What are the basics of language learning in precise?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chandhok. So when you talk of language learning, let me just break it up into two parts. Language is basically a system of symbols that permit people to communicate or to interact. Whereas learning is a complex process of discovery, collaboration, inquiry. So when we talk about learning a new language, it is a very enriching and rewarding skill that we acquire over a lifetime. When children are born, they say that they have already learned language. And it progresses with age. They learn sounds, and they learn words become sentences, then they learn grammar, and then other complex skills, they go on increasing. And when it comes to what are the basics of language learning, we definitely follow the LSRW approach, that is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But during the pandemic, I realized that apart from LSRW, viewing and representing are very important. So when you are viewing a content, they become, parts of a life where you are watching videos, you are trying to comprehend them, you're trying to represent them. Your children have really learned a lot apart from LSRW. So I think the definition of language skill has changed over the pandemic. So this is what I would say language learning is all about.
That's great, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. a very precise and a very effective answer from you. Next, we'll come to Manisha ma'am. Manisha ma'am, your views on the basis of language learning.
What I really second what Sangeeta ma'am said, that children are already familiar when they're in mother's womb. We all know about the story of Abhimanyu, right? So when they come out, it is the sound. And for me, the most and the foremost important thing is listening, listening, and listening. Whatever you are listening, ultimately that becomes your means of communication. That is your mode of communication. So the very basic is, what do you provide? I mean, how you are making child to be there. The child, even the new education policy says, whatever you provide, the child is so fertile, he is ready. How the children are different from grown-ups. The grown-up, they have already made patterns related to language. If my mother tongue is Hindi or Gujarati, there are already patterns. It will take me time to acquire the second language. But wherever the same child, if the mother is Punjabi and he's staying in Gujarat, he will learn Gujarati also. He's studying in English, he will acquire English also. So how come it is happening, the language? Because he's listening all the time. And this passive listening becomes active listening. And then that passive vocabulary, which is all the time there, whatever the mother is saying, what is the total physical response? There are some of the words children start acquiring. Even if he's a Bengali child, he's in Tamil Nadu, because everybody is talking the same. The Aya or the Bhaiya or the Didi or the gardener, they are speaking. So he acquires those things from active, from passive to active listening, and from passive vocabulary that becomes his active vocabulary or her active vocabulary also. So for me, listening is very important. We need to require the kind of atmosphere, if you really want a child to be very interested in languages, so that he or she should be totally immersed in that. That is very important. That is why in foundational years, when there is a lot of language learning, there is a lot of singing, music, dance, drama, so many things are there, because that is, the child is getting acquired that, inheriting that. It is not like with he, you will use say, or the Sanskrit, these grammatical rules, those rules will come later on. So let us provide that fertile plan, that atmosphere where the child tend to hear the right things all the time, so that it becomes a part of his speaking, and then of course reading and writing. So for me, these are the basics. That is very, very important.
That's great, ma'am. That's great, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Next, we'll come to Farzana, ma'am. Farzana, ma'am, as we say, talk about language learning, as an educator, we talk about that we have to teach the student. But people say that language learning is not only at the school level only, it goes on throughout the life. What are your views on this, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. Chandhok, you have very rightly said that, it's an ongoing process, and school is not the only place which is responsible for language learning and development. It starts right from infancy, right from the home, and maybe what they hear, they develop small vocabulary even before coming to school. And that is going to help. So those sounds also work, like Manisha ma'am just said, the child in the womb also absorbs and imbibes that learning process. So it's all about, so there's a way, read aloud, what we used to listen to our grandmom's stories or our mothers telling us stories. But to this new generation parents, I'll say, who are spending more time on gadgets, please read aloud right from infancy, whether your child is able to understand or recognize alphabets or not. So that read aloud works right from infancy. The children whom the parents read aloud, most of the time develop interest for reading books instead of reading from these gadgets. So that, and if you are having correct phonics, sense of phonics, correct sense of reading, identifying the sounds of, SH like sh and all, you can have games, n number of games at home itself. So when pre-primary parents, we conduct orientation sessions for them, sensitization sessions for them, or at the time of admission counseling, please make sure that if they want their children to learn languages well, please let us orient them towards this sort of parenting as well. Because if they are, and again, as you said, it's all about listening. So that read aloud means what is the child doing at that age? The child is simply listening, but then the child develops, the child feels those expressions, those emotions, the pauses, the pronunciation, everything the child is, absorbing subconsciously. Maybe the child is not able to identify the letters, but the child is absorbing. So when the child is exposed to these things, the books, the short, literatures or sentences or sight words, the way we teach pre-primary children with sight words and their sounds. So you don't have a child to know everything to read a book. There are tricks, I think Jaswinder sir will agree to it. And then so many apps are there when it comes to assessment, because you need to check the progress as well. So it has to be a very well planned and well designed thing, be it your own child or be it the children in the school. So this is how I think it. Yes, and then after listening, yes, we need to focus on their correct reading, and then further, the child who is fluent in reading is fluent in writing as well.
Amazing.
Directly,
And
proportional.
yes, ma'am, Farzana ma'am, you are absolutely right. And we'll talk to Jaswinder sir after Jyoti ma'am, that whatever we are needing is that there in this is app or not. We'll come up to you after Jyoti ma'am, sir. Jyoti ma'am, up to you. Ma'am, we have seen, especially during this pandemic time, that children don't want to pick up their books. They want to use the gadget. They want to do learning, but they don't want to pick up the books. So we can say that technology makes language learning more easy and comfortable. It has made comfortable, say, for the teachers also. They can learn from there and pass it to the students, and the students directly afterwards they can, use that. What are your views on this, ma'am? Is technology making language learning easy and comfortable?
Yeah, Mr. Chandok, it is very true that during the pandemic, during COVID-19, everything is being changed. Though we were into the technology, but we have never thought that we are going to use, all the age group are going to use it so rigorously. So let me share my view on the subject. What the question you asked me, you stated that technology makes learning more easy and comfortable, first of all. Yes, it is very true. It makes learning very easy and comfortable for everyone. I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to connect me to this session. Mr. Chandok, I am in support of that. As we compare the learning process in authoritarian way to memorize the mindless fact with the learning process in the way to interact with the natural variables created by using the various technologies, I think children sort the knowledge through experiences and interactions. Technology is the best complementary tool, we can say, in the classrooms and outside even, with unlimited activities and exercises anywhere, anytime. So for that reason, I would like to support. It makes the student feel more motivated and stimulating to learn language and transform the student from a passive recipient to an active learner, we can say. Technologies also help to monitor and managing the students' progress with the test and exam in a more effective way. It makes the learning more active, creative, participating, sharing, debating, creating, and forming opinions. So during this time, I have never thought that we will into the technology so much involved, and we have learned so much from it in this phase. So, sir, there are so many apps nowadays, very comfortable. Download them, use them. Through them, it becomes learning language more collaborative. I think I'm in support of that, and I think technology has made the learning more easy. But definitely, children don't want to study from books. They don't want to turn pages. They want the e-books, and they're using the mobiles. Though it has the negative effect also, but certain screen or something should be used that doesn't affect their eyes. So I'm in support of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Amazing. Jaswinder sir will come up to you because this is Aapki Adalat and you are in the Katgara and you have to tell us that these are the things. Technology is, I mean, it is good. We can use the app. it is either online or offline. It has to be checked. It has negativity, positivity,
Yes, it
everything you
has.
heard from. Yeah, you heard from all the eminent guests, the principals who have come. We will like to know from you that
Hmm.
how good is your app? How is are these problems being solved by your particular app? Please, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Def-
Sorry, ma'am.
it's okay, sir. Fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Please
Okay.
ask.
Okay. So, my first of all, before I come down to your point, the question you're asking me or the statement that you're asking me to make, I would like to add to what the principals have said. Yes, for language acquisition, opportunity and platform is very, very important.
Hmm.
That's one thing. Whether technology gives or not, that's beside the point. It does give. I'm going to come to that. I would like to add on to what Manisha ma'am said and Fazana ma'am said. You know, we say that a child, and even Sangeeta ma'am, you also said that that environment, that representation, what they view, what they see, is very important. So the best gadget, which is not a gadget, I would say the best laptop is a mother's lap.
Hmm.
You know, when we really want kids to acquire the right kind of reading skills, okay, to understand, I mean, or to be comfortable with reading is when the mother holds the child in her lap and reads a book. Okay, so the child understands that everything comes from a book. You read from left to right and you go from top to bottom. Okay, you flip the pages. That time, whether the child understands or not, if the mother speaks, because there can be no teacher better than the mother because she's the first teacher. So I would want to say, yes, we are in the era of technology. I'm 100% totally immersed into technology. But what I understand is that technology alone cannot do what the blend of us as teachers, us as parents, and technology can together do. Technology cannot bring the warmth we can bring in. We can't bring everything. Technology can bring in everything. So that blend is the most important thing. That's what I said. So now coming up, because we understand that teachers are there and they'll be doing it. It was also said by one of the speakers that this is one of the best tools. Yes, it is. Why? Like Jyoti ma'am said, this is anytime, anywhere learning. Okay, understand, when we are talking about language, a child has to fall in love with that language to acquire that language. Secondly, if I want to fall in love with the language, I have to first fall in love with my teacher. If I love my teacher, if I'm comfortable, I will acquire that language. One. Now, what the teachers today has to do is to use technology, because today's child is a technology resident. वो तो बचपन से ही, पहले से ही वो हमने मुंह में अंगूठा डाला तो मुंह में मोबाइल डाल रहे हैं, right? So they are born with technology. So the teacher will have to use the technology. So what has happened is this pandemic has forced us to actually work and realize that it is no big deal. We are not supposed to code. There are people who will code, but we will use those apps. So what we as a company do is, one, we've created the entire teaching learning methodology, which is first based on environment, situation, context. One. How do you acquire a language? Not formula wise, not grammar wise, not by the menu. You acquire it by different situations. Okay, so thematic learning is what we've done. So which is very natural process of learning. Okay, that is important. Any language that you want to acquire, you can acquire when it is acquired naturally. So with our product in our language lab, what we've done, we've blended teaching. So there's a part that the teacher delivers and there's a part that the student practices. Both are interrelated. So what happens is the teacher actually provides the platform for the students to interact and gives them the opportunity by giving these environments. One. Second is, not everybody is good with the pronunciation. Earlier, somebody said that if there are 5 teachers who are doing excellent job and if there's one teacher who doesn't speak English properly, बच्चों का पूरा काम बिगड़ जाता है, right? So what technology does is actually gives the right kind of pronunciation and the sounds, right? So now when you teach using a tool and when you're teaching, you learn more. That's what I said, Chandok sir, that whatever we learned during our B.Ed, We just got it. We never knew what it would do. Or we were not able to understand that. But when we started teaching, we understood everything. Same happens with language. When the teachers use a tool, their language skills also improve, and in turn, the students' language skills improve. So this is a complementary factor, both for teacher while teaching and learning for students when they're practicing. So that is what technology does. So you have situations, you have scenarios, you've got the right kind of articulation, right kind of sounds, and techniques. When the Britishers left us, they did not want the common man to acquire English. It was only for the elite. That is why they made it very difficult. ऐसा क्यों है कि हमें बहुत तकलीफ हो जाती है अंग्रेजी बोलने में, एंड ये जो अमेरिकन हैं वो फटाफट बोल देते हैं, यूके फटाफट बोलते हैं, बिकॉज दे लर्न एज अ नेचुरल प्रोसेस. वी वर टॉट टू लर्न एज ग्रामर, right? You don't have to do that. So situation based and using techniques, simple techniques. We need not remember any rules. Tell me, हम सब हिंदी में बात कर सकते हैं, हम में से कितनों को व्याकरण का वर्ब ही आता है, तो हम ग्रामर का जी क्यों ढूंढते हैं? So what we've done is we process the entire thing in such a way that it is presented to the students in a way that they understand. The teacher can deliver better. She has got support mechanism, the teacher training, and the students get to practice whenever they want and as much as they want. If I want to practice at 8 o'clock in the evening, I want to do at that time because I want to fall in love. I don't want to do it forcefully. So something that I can do within my privacy, within the time that I want to, the way I want to do, that is what learning is today. And today's child has got access to so many other things. Why not education that way? So that's the whole process that we have done. And one more important thing that we've worked on is, we all know that students are not reading as much as we should be reading, right? So what do you do? Like I tell all schools, you have a library, you've got a fantastic library. The books are given to the students' library, the books are taken home, they come back. But has the child read it? There's no answer to that. So what we've done is we've actually created a digital library where the teacher assigns the book. It comes onto your mobile phone or your computer. We first tell them, listen to it. When you listen to something proper, you will always speak proper, because language is acquired through imitation, repetition, imitation, repetition. I mean, like I was said, the way you listen is the way you produce. So what is done is that today's generation, you have to work in a different way, and technology will allow you to do that, because we are technology migrants. हमें देर लगती है सब करने में, but if we use technology, we can actually put it. So it's only nothing but amalgamation of technology with the teachers, giving them the right process, giving them the right content, and giving them the right assessments. I think Jyoti ma'am talked about assessments. When we do it, when you have an app or you use technology, you don't do assessment of learning, you do assessment for learning, so that the teacher knows where exactly I need to focus on. Because today's child is learning from multiple ways. I don't even know मेरे बच्चों को क्या आता है क्या नहीं आता है. So when you do these assessments, you actually realize where are the gaps and you work on. So technology is a support tool. It complements, it helps us teachers deliver better. That's all what an app is supposed to do, and that is what we work on, Chandhok sir, and teacher principals. So that's what it does.
Amazing, sir. And when we are talking about any topic, we are talking about all the schools pan India, and it's difficult to get right. Another day we were talking that if you don't have an English teacher, any teacher can be an English teacher. So it should not be like this. Even if you are not getting very good teachers, I mean, whose pronunciation or English is not good, with the help of these type of tools, the teacher can become more smarter, and he or she can deliver, the right thing to the students to be learned. So this is a base or a tool. Actually, the main work is of the teacher, but as a tool, as an equipment, it helps the teacher to deliver the right thing at the right place. That's great. Thank you.
If I can't walk properly, and if I take care of the use of a stick, that gives me, it allows me to walk. So what we say is, the major problem that we have in our Indian education system, CBSE system more, or the IC system, we don't have the right kind of and the right number of language teachers, right? And what I always say, you cannot import a teacher, right? The teachers have to be developed. So over the years, you develop giving them support, and it works. ये कहते हैं सुबह शीघ्रम. start kar lo, pata nahi lagega kab tak your teachers will come to that mark. And for that, all you need to do is give them support. And as it is, if you don't give them support, they will find support from somewhere. And that's what is working. Chandok sir.
Amazing, sir.
Over to you.
Amazing. Wonderful, wonderful. And as you told Meera also when you had a word with me, that you people have done a lots and lots of research on your language
Yeah,
labs,
50,000 man hours.
man hours. It may be English, or because when we are talking about language, it's not about only English language. It's about Hindi, Sanskrit, every language. It may be a regional language also.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. We'll come up to the next round, Sangeeta ma'am. A very short answer we'll be needing for everyone now. Ma'am, we know that every child is born with different ability and mental level. How language learning should be done so that it is, gets equal knowledges the children should get?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chandu. I think kids are amazing language learners. So in a span about 20 months, they go from a total newbie to a fluent speaker in their own native language. So when language learning is becomes an active process, by the time children come to school, if they are in an environment, they can learn 3 to 4 languages at the same point of time. So it is very important to give them that kind of environment to learn a language, because that will help them to learn the next language that we are trying to teach them. So I think language teaching is a shared responsibility. It should be the school, the parents, the community, the peers. So when I talk of shared responsibility, every child has a learning style. So it's very important to identify that learning style. We follow a WAC approach, whether the child is a visual learner or an auditory learner or a kinesthetic
Kinesthetic.
learner. So once you identify and all those people who are dealing with the child are following the same approach, the first thing that the child learns for language is speaking. The child learns, picks up new words. He listens and he tries to speak. So it's very important that the child should be allowed to speak in a non-threatening, non-judgmental environment. One should be able to listen to the child. One should be a good listener. And the child should be allowed to make mistakes. And even if, a lot of repetition has to be done, I think that kind of environment should be created for the child. Repeat, make mistakes, repeat, make mistakes. So this is back and forth is very important in language learning. And I think fluency should be given more importance over accuracy, because accuracy will come with
By
time.
itself.
And their language cannot be learned by rote method. So it has to be practiced by the children. And it could be, taught through a story, maybe a conversation with the child, every day building vocabulary, new words. So a lot of time should be invested when a child is learning a new language. So when the child is learning, when we talk of assessments, of course, we cannot only learn a language only for time pass, unless and until we are traveling to a new country. If that language has to be assessed, so we need to set goals and track the progression. So I think if we follow all these points, there is no way that the child would falter anywhere or not learn a language.
True.
Thank you.
True, ma'am. True. That's amazing. Manisha, ma'am, will you add up something into this?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
you're
you're
muted.
muted.
I think now I have unmuted myself. So what I like, being from a theatrical background or theater background, I have seen this helps a lot in language learning. Like we ourselves created in our in-house drama program. And I've seen amazingly right from the children when they're entering at the age of 3 or 3+ and 4, even some of the children, they have their own problems, maybe slow learning or speaking, stuttering, stammering. But when we are giving them, of course, unbiased, not judgmental, and giving them the platform and opportunities and lot of drama and situations such where they can really learn in a playway method, that is very, very important. How the music plays an important role. I have seen, as you have said, language skills is very, very important. And when a child who is not able to express himself or herself, there is a question of low self-esteem also right from the beginning. So it is very, very important to make the child comfortable and create multiple ways where the children can express themselves. of course, as said by earlier co-panelists, that non-threatening environment. So drama, dance, music, aerobics, and building up a lot of vocabularies. And then again, repeating those vocabularies, because we are making spiral way of learning so many vocabularies there. There's so many words children are picking up. So it is very important to adapt or adopt the differentiated learning, because we know there are different kind of learners. So how the teacher is empowered to experiment, to innovate, so that it can be learned in a fun way manner. That is very, very important. There is a lot of cards, jigsaw puzzles, there is a housey, so many things which can be woven around these language games. And that is very, very important. A simple classroom method can never help language learning. We have to move out of the classroom, and that really helps right from the beginning, because that is a foundational year. What we have started now saying 3 years onwards, the foundational years. So these years are very, very important, because the child is ripe. It is fertile. He or she is able to learn as many as things, whichever you are going to sow in that seed. So it is very important how to kind of right environment, how to make your teacher even to learn different kind of differentiated learning for skills. That is also very, very important for language. That is equally very, very important. Creating some rubric also, because I will also say here, the language teacher, all language teacher must know about the development milestones of children, because they are dealing with the children, that particular group. What are the development milestones related to speaking, listening, reading, writing, whether that the child is matching up or not? How can she really give her more inputs for the same? That is what very, very important. So we have to have a checklist to ascertain the needs. Indirectly and unknowingly, the child should not be told that, but they should be assessed and evaluated when they are properly diagnosed, and then the teacher should work on that. That is equally very, very important. And I'm sure that differentiated kind of learning in multiple ways, it really helps. Allow them in collaboration and cooperative learning, where each child has been given some tasks to read and write and speak and dramatize. And when they are collaborating together, all skills are blended well. All those 21st century skills are blended well when they're expressing themselves. And when the child is able to express, read, speak, there's a lot of confidence and self-esteem. That is very, very important. So this is what I just wanted to add.
Amazing, ma'am. Amazing. Confidence building is necessary, and there are plenty of ways and tools also where we can get our target done. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Farzana, ma'am. Farzana, ma'am, we say that monitoring and assessing students' language development is also necessary in the process of language learning. It's not only that we should give them, we should monitor and assess also. Your views on this, ma'am?
Yes, I strongly agree with what Manisha ma'am has just mentioned about the methods to assess. It's not judgment, it's method to assess the progress, how much the child has learned. The learning outcomes, what NCERT talks about, it's something similar to that only, because we need to focus, and it has to be, age-wise categorized, and teachers need to know at this level how much the child should be through with the language learning. Or as ma'am said, teachers should know, and yes, teachers need to have that awareness. If not, first thing I'll say again, empower your teachers. And with Jaswinder sir's lab, I think the teachers' empowerment will automatically take place. And yes, assessment methods, tests are not at all the accurate way of assessing the learning of language. The parameters cannot be checked just by taking tests, because as ma'am said, you need to understand their learning styles. You need to design something, differentiated tools for assessment, differentiated assessment tools, and differentiated teaching plans also. It's not only about assessment tools. Know your children in the classroom, their gaps, their strengths. If we know this much, I think we'll be able to cater, I think, in the most effective way as a teacher, if I say. Because methods we all know, but what to implement on what child? Sometimes we do not do that thing, though we keep working hard. So it's not about hard working, it's about smart planning of lessons or the teaching modules, be it only a small reading or picture reading or anything, or a role play. We need to plan it very smartly with very crisp instructions, and parameters which have to be shared with the children so that they know how they have to go about that. Otherwise, they will keep doing it in their own way and teacher will keep grading them D. So that is not we are aiming at. We are aiming at something which is in terms of progress. And that progress, how to assess and monitor that, because anything that cannot be measured is not done. That is what I believe in. So if you want to measure it, create rubrics, what ma'am said, create checklists, again, based on what theme-based teaching, if I go with Jaswinder sir, or if I go with Sangeeta ma'am and Manisha ma'am with different learning styles, or role plays, or dramatics, or creative writing, or structured writing, depending on the standards. So we need to have perfect rubrics in place. And again, I'll say there are n number of apps available for rubrics, creating rubrics. Again, make your teachers aware, help them out, facilitate them, because this is one thing which teachers find very difficult to do or do not take much interest keeping all their program in mind. So let's plan it in a very smart way with everything in place, the teaching plan, the assessment tools, again, keeping in mind all the learning styles, then more focus on oral presentations, performances, because the more fluent they are in speaking, the better they will be writing as well. So it's all about focusing on all four aspects. And it's always said it's about consumption and production. Listening, reading, and then, producing it on the paper or verbally. Then there should be non-verbal assessments also. All children may not be good speakers. So in the games, you can include dumb charades or any type of charades which you want, or the picture reading, picture composition. If you remember, we used to do a lot in our, childhood, in our school days. And I still make it a part of my English plans. Though teachers miss out and, keep moving on something which is very complicated and of a higher status. Children are very simple. The simpler you make learning for them, they enjoy, it becomes more joyful. It becomes a delight to be in the classroom as a major participant in what all is going on in the classroom. So involve them through the ways they love to learn. So that is what written assignments, yes, as you move up or lower classes according to their age groups, and the learning outcomes, again, keep in mind, because be it NCERT learning outcomes or the essential concepts which were shared with us during this lockdown for English, maths and science, because again, the focus was on language, be it English, Hindi or Sanskrit, focus was on language, because whatever foundational literacy and numeracy talks about, again, it's about language. So please understand why this NEP is focusing so much on foundational literacy and numeracy, because this is the foundation which will help them having more clarity of concepts further if they are through with this part. So this is something which is very essential, what I feel. And yes, anything that you plan, even the smallest activity, you need to have some rubrics or a checklist to monitor and assess the progress of the children of the class, and then again share, fill the gaps. It has to be immediate reinforcement or feedback with the children. So
fantastic, ma'am. Fantastic, ma'am. So many ideas and so many knowledge you have, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Next, we'll come up to Jyoti, ma'am. As ma'am said, NEP about NEP 2020, and NEP 2020 even says or lays stress on experiential learning pedagogy. If we make the extensive use of technology, this experiential learning will become more easy for the teachers and the learners also. What are your views on this, ma'am?
According to me, the new education policy of 2020 lays the stress on experiential learning. Pedagogy. About the experiential learning, I would like to quote one quote, John Dewey. He said that, who believe that education is a process of living, who believe that education is a process of living, not the preparation for the future living. I would like to repeat, John Dewey said, who believes that education is a process of living, not the preparation for the future living. His emphasis on progressive education contributed greatly to the use of experimentation rather than theoretical approaches. According to him, real life experiences should be connected. Otherwise, the real learning would be impossible. It is very important to take the real life example, to take the kids to the real life, connect it with that, then teach them. Experiential learning is based on principle, which everybody knows, all the principal knows, all the educationists, and even the teachers knows. A very simple thing about that, we hear. When child hear any story, any picture, any movie, any text, he forgets. We say we see, we remember for a short duration. When we do, we remember whole life. So doing is very important. In other words, what we can say to the experiential learning is learning by experience, or we can say learning by doing. Today we are learning in information. Today we all are living in an information age. And the time is most valuable factor. So extensive use of technology is our primary concern. We cannot go out of it. We have to be into it, and we have to learn, and we have learned a lot. Our primary concern, since technology make it possible to approach the information placed in a distances and to interact with all the stakeholders and to make learning more engaging and result giving and collaborative. Experiential learning enables the student to engage a creative portion of their mind, of their brain, and see their own unique solutions to the problem or to any task given to the child. 5 pedagogical practices are there: constructiveness, then elaborative, integration, integrative, reflective, and unique based learning. So these are the 5 pedagogical practices which we should do it. Then experiential education first immerse the learners in an experiences and there encourage the reflections about their experiences to develop a new skill, new attitudes, new ways of thinking. So it is very important that through experiment, when the child will be involved, he will be involved in that activity, experiments he will do, he will learn more. If he will see, he will forget. If he will read, remember for a certain time, something like that. And if he is being involved in that activity, he will remember throughout the life. A very small example. Suppose a science teacher is there and he's teaching about the zoo or animals. So what? Any zoo visit. If the child do the zoo visit and see the animals over there, they learn about their anatomy, how they live and everything. The child will not forget throughout their life. So learning is basically involvement of the children. So children, generally what we see, when the child see the movie, he remembers, they listen. उसमें क्या audio भी होता है, visual भी होता है. तो बच्चा क्या है, उसे जल्दी catch करता है, जल्दी learn करता है. और बच्चों को सबसे ज़्यादा boring लगता है. Nowadays the parents are saying, ma'am, they always they are on laptop, always they are on mobiles or tablets. They are studying by the tablets from the last 2 years. So it is very true that sir said that book जो एक closeness है वो खत्म हो गई है. सब लोग टेक्नोलॉजी की तरफ जा रहे हैं और वो एक जो बुक की तरफ हमारा बहुत वो था कि हम लोग बुक से पढ़ेंगे, एक अटैचमेंट होता था, पेजेस को पलटना करना, अपनी किताबों से प्यार करना, वो सब चीजें खत्म हो गई हैं. Every children want e-books. Even the e-pencils are there for them to write. So लेकिन ये है कि बुक, पेन, पेपर, बोर्ड इनका ऑल्टरनेट नहीं होना चाहिए. इनके साथ टेक्नोलॉजी मिल जाए पर ये खत्म नहीं होने चाहिए. They should not be finished off. So along with them, technology should be collaborated and then the process should go on. Thank you.
Amazing, ma'am. Amazing. That's great. Thank you, ma'am. Jaswinder sir will come up to you and we'd like to know about that. How does your app comes up to the expectations of NEP 2020? What's in that which matches up with the expectations of NEP 2020?
Okay, so before I go there, I'll again add up something what Jyoti ma'am said. Jyoti ma'am, what you said experiential is very true and we call it as role plays. When it comes to English, we need to involve, immerse, and make them do things using role plays. And role plays are a very good way of involving everybody, because language is through peers. You acquire more language skills when you communicate with your peers. I always say that if you take up a child in an entire day, a child speaks to, I mean, if he has to communicate with all the teachers, it is not going to be more than 10 sentences. But talking to his friend is more than 200 sentences a day. So even that is experiential learning. If you make them, if you want them to acquire, say, Hindi, make them communicate in Hindi. Say English, like make them communicate in English, and similarly for other languages. So that's one thing that we say, learning by doing is the role play side of things. Now coming on to your point, which Chandok sir, you said, how does our product, how does it work with the requirements of NEP 2020? So NEP 2020 has got 3 points. Okay, these are 3 points based on language learning. First is the 3 language formula, right? So that I think is the point number 4.17, which says that each child should be exposed to a minimum of 3 languages. There's one thing which earlier one of the panelists said, that these kids can acquire to 3-4 languages. By the age of 8, an average child can acquire up to 5 languages. So when NEP 2020 says that in the early foundation years, the learning of the core subjects should be done in the local language or the regional language, that's a very good thing. Let them understand, acquire the concepts properly. But that doesn't mean that, suppose I take example of Hindi, you don't teach English till 5th standard. No, you can give them Hindi, you can give them English, you can give them any other languages right from the beginning. So the 3 language formula is something that is possible. That's point number 4.17. The second point that they're talking about, I think, is 4.12, which says technology enabled learning. Again, that's a part of 4.17 of your NEP document. 4.17 says use technology, because access to a lot of language learning, language listening, language speaking, language reading, and ultimately language writing is required, and technology can help them do that, right? What technology does is replaces or multiplies one teacher into 40 teachers in a class, right? So that's how that works. That's why they say get technology, because it is anytime, anywhere learning that happens. And lastly, and the most important thing is that they talk about experiential learning, which is point number 4.21, which says language should be through experiential. It should not be only literature. It should not be only grammar. It is something where they experience, they use the language. Like Jyoti ma'am rightly said, that unless they do it, they will not get it. True. So what we need to do is, like, you have dramatics, you got theater, you got music, you got elocution, you got whatnot. All these things actually bring in language, because there's nothing without a language. I had once said that, what does language do to a individual? It transforms us from being Homo sapiens to humans. Language has made the difference. Had there been no language, हम अभी भी जंगलों में एक दूसरे को मारते काटते रहते. But language allowed us to understand the other individual. Language allows us to know the other culture. When you know somebody else's culture, you start loving that person. We hate others because we don't know why they are this way. When you know their culture, you will learn all that. So what we say is, let there be an experience of language, exchange of ideas by talking to each other. So what I generally tell a lot of schools is that, in the classroom, it's only the teacher who speaks. Am I right? And most of us have always said, I'm going to teach you how to speak, but keep quiet. That doesn't work. So I've got a small certificate here. What we do is we tell schools that use this certificate. Can you see this, everybody? Yeah. So what we say is, if you find kids outside your class talking to each other in English, just give them one this. ये 50 पैसे का है. अगर आप छपा print करा लो. Have your school logo, and during the assembly, give this to the kids. Those whom you found communicate in English outside the class, because that is where they communicate with them. Then you do one thing. During the assembly, call all these 5, 10, 15, 20 students whom you've given this, and let everybody know in the assembly that these are those students. Clap for them. They are the ones who have been communicating in English. Now this has got two very important effects. ये जो बच्चे स्टेज पे आए, मनीषा मैम, ये जो बच्चे स्टेज पे आ गए, ये अब फंस गए. पूरी स्कूल जानती है इनको तो अंग्रेजी के लिए सर्टिफिकेट दिया था, अब इनको तो बोलना है. They can't use any other language. And the other thing is they are stuck, so they will communicate in English. They've been identified as that, and the ones who are sitting down there would want to come and get into trouble. They would want to be appreciated. So just a small piece of this thing. So this is what I say is what you can do, and that's what is experiential learning. So when NEP says using the three language formula, excellent. And you know why Indians are smarter than the other people in the world? Because we have so many languages here. And he said, when you see, when you can speak three or more languages, it actually works in your brain. It makes your, nerve endings work faster. And, imagine one sentence and you use three languages and still make meaning out of that. That's a lot of logic. So that is what is important. If our kids speak more than two languages, that is three or more languages, they will, as it is, naturally use their brain better and be smarter. So all these things, somewhere, if NEP, if these people who have designed it, they're people from technology. Understand? People from technology have designed the thing. So they somewhere understand that language plays a very, very important role. And that's why, they've brought in Sanskrit. You know why Sanskrit? It is not that it is only our cultural language, ji hamare purkhon ki language. No, it is the most logical language in the world. Why do they say that if you want to learn how to how to do coding, acquire Sanskrit? Because Sanskrit is a logical language. There are two examples I would like to give you, if you allow me that. One is that अगर एक spelling है किसी word का संस्कृत में, किस लेटर के बाद कौन सा लेटर आना है, उसका भी एक फॉर्मूला है. It's a logical way of doing that. Second, Sanskrit language you can speak in any way, you will still make meaning out of it. Let me give you an example. If I have to say my name is Jaswinder, in Sanskrit it is Mama Nama Jaswindra. But if I say Jaswindra Mama Nama, that is also correct. Nama Mama Jaswinder, that is also correct. Jaswinder Mama Nama is also correct. So you can put anything and still it makes meaning. Okay, and that is what we say. So, if we say, why Sanskrit? I know when I was in school, बहुत मार खाई है मैंने, बहुत मार खाई है, क्योंकि मैं संस्कृत में नहीं पढ़ पाता था. But now I realize that had my teachers made Sanskrit interesting, उस टाइम पे संधि और वो ग्रामर लेके आ गए थे. पहले हिंदी की ग्रामर समझ नहीं आ रही थी, इसकी कैसे आती. So, but now if you have communicated Sanskrit, and I don't know if you know, CBSE on 6th of August has sent a circular to all the schools that 9th standard and 10th standard, you need to have Sanskrit, communicative English and communicative Sanskrit. Why? Because they can understand that Sanskrit is not a difficult language, and probably because most new jobs for our kids are going to be IT related. They better be prepared. So Sanskrit is one way to prepare them at that. And that's why we got into this. And that's why we say this three language formula of NEP is something to applaud for, something that they've done a good job. Thank you.
That's great, sir. That's great. Wonderful, wonderful. And I can sum up, like we say that every child is born up with the same brain, but when we see the lot of 30 or 40 in a class, they get different results. It is just because when a child has come to a class or has missed the class, and whether next day he comes up, he's not able to cope up with the subject. But now with the use of technology, if he has not understood it properly or he has missed that day class, he can go up at home, he can pick up that app, and he can, learn the differences or deficiencies that have been left. When the next day he'll come into the class, he will be there along with every child, equal to all children. And we'll not be saying that there are 3 or 4 toppers in the class. All the children will become topper. And this is what we are running for. Every time we are running for that, every child should get a very good result. And as a tool, we can use these types of app where it will help the children, the teachers, us also. In all the ways, it will be fruitful to us. Thank you so much, Jaswinder sir.
Thank you, sir.
And coming up to the very secret and last, session, the round of this episode is that now we have started up that at least 2 lines had to be sung by all the participants in any of the language. And who is going to start? That is most important. Anything you want to, any religious or a filmy song or a poem, anything you want to recite. Let's have a good, evening time before going to bed, and have a good memories that we met each other and we had a great time. And I'm not telling this before the episode because you will not be joining. This question will come to me. I'm not telling because you will say, okay, I'll look over for another date. Not this time. Farzana ma'am, you are a beautiful singer. I have seen. I know this. So any two lines. I won't allow three lines. We don't have time. Only two lines. Anything.
We'll follow you for Zara, ma'am. We'll join you.
uh, what to say? Like, because I'm not a singer, to be very.
Manisha ma'am, you have to sing also, ma'am. So please get
I'll
ready, all
follow
of you.
Farzana, ma'am. She got such a good, sweet voice. So we'll all will that will be our evening anthem.
Ma'am,
Dedicated.
I'll just sing simple. We shall overcome.
Ma'am,
Sort of
Farzana
like
ma'am,
keep
and
learning
Manisha ma'am, we are not. We are. We don't grow above 18. There's a
Yeah.
child in everyone,
Oh,
and that child has the child and the singer has to come out today of everyone.
the school songs, you know.
Done, ma'am, done.
We shall overcome. We
We
shall
shall
overcome. Let's join. We
We
shall
Shall
overcome.
overcome
One day.
Oh,
Deep in my heart,
I
I
do
do
believe
believe
we
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 shall
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 overcome
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 one
one
someday.
day.
day. Wow, ma'am.
Wow,
Back
ma'am,
to
that's
school.
great. That's
Back to
great.
school.
Manisha ma'am, your turn, please.
My, I will only sing. हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करें, दूसरों की जैसे पहले खुद को जय करें. So let us be for ourselves. Let's be the change for when we talk about to change the world.
Amazing, ma'am. Amazing. That's great.
बस सब एजुकेशन वाला कर रहे हैं, कोई फिल्म ही नहीं आया.
हाँ,
ज्योति मैम,
वो तो आप ही गाओगे, तुम ही गाओ.
मैं तो वो तो गाइश.
Sangeeta ma'am, ma'am, your turn. Jyoti ma'am, please get ready.
I am not a good singer.
Nobody's a good singer,
I
ma'am.
never
But
tried.
still.
अच्छा, पंजाबी समझ में
हाँ
आती
जी,
है?
हाँ जी, सबको आती है.
I'll just sing two lines. सारी रात तेरा तकनियारा, तारियां तो पुछ जानवे. सारी रात तेरा तकनियारा, तारियां तो पुछ जानवे. नी मैं तेरे पीछे हुई तबा, हाय लारिया तो पुछ जानवे. सारी रात तेरा तकनियारा, तारियां तो पुछ जानवे.
Wow, ma'am. Wow.
Sangeeta ma'am, you are, मतलब कहते ना छुपा रुस्तम, you are such a good singer.
Yeah, I don't sing. I like this song, so I sang.
You don't sing. Why don't you sing, ma'am? And you are such a beautiful singer, such melodious voice you have. If you don't believe, you can ask from Farzana, ma'am.
I'll see the recording first.
Before you see the recording, I will air it on to everywhere, and you'll get the compliments for sure. You'll get the compliment for sure.
It doesn't go with the language topics.
It does, ma'am. Language, it does.
Yes.
Any language sung in any way or
this is the third language you have spoken today, ma'am. We had English, we had Hindi. Punjabi is the third language. You are promoting the language, ma'am.
And NEP is supporting all languages. And they have said that even Pali all should be there as a fun language for middle classes.
Jyoti ma'am, you cannot escape, ma'am.
Sir was talking, I was thinking when he was saying that we have lot of languages. Every 100 kilometers, either a language or a dialect changes.
Ma'am, we are blessed to be in this country with so many languages. Because language is the sign of intelligence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jyoti ma'am, we are waiting for you, ma'am. You can't escape. Please come back. Jyoti ma'am.
Farzana ma'am, you must be knowing Manjula ma'am in Lucknow.
Yes.
Manjula Goswami.
I know.
Ma'am, if she is not knowing anyone, everybody is knowing her. If you lost Manjula ma'am, she might be knowing her.
She's a page 3 personality.
Farzana ma'am, if you don't know Farzana ma'am, that means you're not from this universe or this earth.
Oh.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. At
Farzana
least
ma'am, you are the celebrity. We are really glad and fortunate to see
Yeah.
you at that
no.
meeting.
When we talk
Thank you,
about this
sir.
part of UP, to Kanpur, Lucknow, and Barabanki, and all these 4, 5, 6 places at least. Frankly speaking, I'm not joking. Everybody knows her.
But
She
she's
is
such a
so
modest
socialized.
person. That's very nice, very soft,
Actually,
polite, and
she's very
modest.
socialized. She's very socialized and into everything.
That's very good,
So
Farzana ma'am.
everywhere you will find
With all
socialized.
focus on my school's work, whatever minimum time I have, I love,
It's wonderful, Farzana ma'am.
interacting or helping, we connect. And we have good, informal groups of principals, be it in Lucknow or in Barabanki, Behraich. So it's something that people, if they think it's a challenge, ma'am, aap soch rahe ho, principals nahi aayenge, and you will not believe even Barabanki, not even Barabanki, Behraich principals also visit just on one call. And
Very
we are
nice.
together sharing knowledge and helping each other.
That speaks
That's
Something like
volumes about you, Farzana ma'am.
that. So
But
that's
but
how
ma'am, Jyoti ma'am is
network
back.
is growing.
Jyoti ma'am is back with her song.
Yes,
Ma'am.
with some song. We are waiting, looking
Everybody
for.
has sung, ma'am. Everybody has sung. Please
Ma'am,
unmute
you're on
yourself.
mute, ma'am.
Everybody has sung.
Pantnagar special pahadi. Huh?
मैम आप म्यूट पे है मैम ज्योति मैम ज्योति मैम you're on mute you're still on mute yeah now you're
Yes.
okay yeah
I was in Lucknow for 8 years, City Montessori School.
But
So
we
I
are
know that.
we are more
I
keen to
worked
hear
with
some
Gandhi.
pahadi song.
Only 2 lines, ma'am.
Now I don't remember, and it's a long time then when I left Panagar. So
Any 2 lines, ma'am. Any 2 lines at least.
You grew up in Pantnagar.
Only 1 line, ma'am.
almost 20, 27 years I was there. Okay.
Ma'am,
I'll
any
just
2
sing
lines.
one line. All my
Sure,
country.
sure.
सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा हम बुलबुलें हैं इसके ये गुलसिता हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हमारा. Thank you.
very nice ma'am
Great, ma'am. Great, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful evening with all you people. Thank you so much, Farzana ma'am, Sangeeta ma'am, Jaswinder sir, Manisha ma'am, Jyoti ma'am, for taking out your valuable time and joining with us. And hope to see you again in another session. Now you know that you have to sing along with that. So you will get ready for that also.
Yes.
I hope all of you enjoyed. And
Thank you
please
so
do
much.
drop in my chat box your takeaways from the session, ma'am, for sure.
thank you sir
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sangeeta ma'am
Everyone.
yeah
Chandok sir, next time, please give us more time to do the proper preparations.
Sure, ma'am. Now the secret has revealed. Now you know about
Today
that.
I was in Sahodaya meeting for whole day, almost 3, 4, 5 hours. So we were there. So I couldn't prepare much for that. Sorry for that.
No issues, ma'am. No issues. Thank you so much. Even you have joined after.
But I'll compliment you, Chandok sir. You make this talk show so comfortable.
Very
You need not
comfortable.
think. The things
That is
will
the
come out.
beauty of his talk show, I think. He makes people very comfortable.
true ma'am
When first time I had a talk show with him, he says, ma'am, bilkul chinta mat karna. So I was very
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you.
Yeah.
It's all because of all your support that I try to bring out something different, because we are educationists. We are different. When we can hold around 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 plus students, so we can have a very good together. It's not a session or a show. It's a get together of the show, of the principles, where we share knowledge. We have entertainment also, and we come to know about each other. That is the different about the show, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you
More
so
than
much.
me, Chandok sir, people know you.
Yeah, that is for
Because
sure.
of your talk show now, you are everywhere.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Global presence.
Chandok sir, it's a really great opportunity for all of us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, ma'am. My pleasure. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, sir.